Hello everyone and welcome to yet another edition of On the Spot. I'm your host, Rich Gallup, and I'm joined by a pair of Ryans, Ryan Davis and Ryan McDonald. How you doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing pretty good.
Good, good. Ryan McDonald, he might seem a little distracted right now. He's playing CS Source and he's waiting to play against you. We'll get to him in a moment. Right now, Ryan Davis, what kind of show we have going on today?
We have a very Nintendo-heavy show today. Last week we had the Nintendo Gamers Summit, so we're going to have a lot of stuff from that. We're going to be looking at the keynote from Reggie. Everyone knows and loves Reggie. We're going to be looking at a whole bunch of DS games and some other GameCube games they're going to have. We're going to have Ricardo Torres on here to talk about the stuff that he saw at the Summit. We're also going to be looking at a developer interview from one of the creators of MechAssault 2. We're going to be talking about the new persistent online mode that's in there.
But those aren't the only developer interviews we have going on. We also have developer interviews for RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 and Forza Motorsport, Forza Motorsport.
Forza, let's go with Forza.
I like Forza. Yeah, we got some great developer interviews. We got plenty of cool stuff to give away. We got some Halo books we're going to be giving away later. We got some Halo 2 t-shirts. We got all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about Hype Williams later because he's cool. And Ryan McDonald, right now, can you give us a quick little heads up right now on Counter-Strike Source right now?
Yeah, everybody that wants to play Counter-Strike Source, test their skills, not only against me actually, but in the other room we're going to have Bob Coleco for sure on. Maybe some of the other GameSpot Counter-Strike regulars will get on here as well during the webcast. But yeah, totally. If you want to join me, you got to get over to the server. It's called McP's Game Grid CS Source number 2.
Sure.
MCPs.
Yeah, it's a MCP. Let me see here.
Not to be confused with all the other McP's game grids out there.
It's capital M, small p.
It's the second one.
Yeah,
capital M.
It's so much better than
C.
the first one.
Yeah, it is.
Capital P apostrophe S Game Grid CS Source number 2. Right now it's currently on Cobble.
And your username is?
It's GS_death.
GS_death. Of course, he says. It's just GS_death. Look for that. Hop on, play some CS Source against GameSpot's master of disaster, Ryan McDonald. But right now, we're going to get right into the Nintendo DS coverage. Ryan McDonald's going to give up his seat for Ricardo Torres right after the Nintendo Gamer Summit keynote address from the world-famous Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Fils-Aimé.
Welcome to our Gamer Summit today. Today's the day you get to test drive DS. It's going to launch at a mass market ready price right from the start. Nintendo DS is coming this year with an announced launch date of November 21st, right in front of Thanksgiving, right in front of that key selling season here in the United States. In fact, the NOA markets will be the first where you can buy a Nintendo DS. From our perspective, what we know and what the gamers are telling us is that functionality is what points the way forward. A better experience and a better connection between the gamer and the gaming experience is where we need to go. And absolutely, Nintendo DS delivers on that experience. What we are doing with this machine truly has never been done before. Dual screen. Never been done before on any type of system. Touch screen, never been successfully done in a gaming system. Voice recognition, brand new on a portable. It gives you wireless in 2 different ways, with a LAN system for close-in communication and Wi-Fi capability. In addition, right from the start, we'll be launching Nintendo DS with built-in functionality of PictoChat, an ability to drive messaging, written words, drawings, all types of visual communication is enabled right from the start. With this, it's really no wonder that the development community is absolutely stoked.
Thank you very much, Reggie Fils-Aimé. We are now joined in the studio by GameSpot Previews editor Ricardo Torres. Ricardo, how's it going?
It's going good.
Last week, you were able to attend Nintendo's Gamer Summit, and you got your hands on the Nintendo DS. What can you tell us about it?
It's really neat. No.
Well, thanks for coming along, Ricardo.
Awesome.
It's good to have you
It's
here.
nice to have you on the show. Seriously, what games did you see? How does it feel?
They had about almost a dozen there. And they
Mostly first-party stuff?
No, they only had kind of like 2.5 first-party games.
Okay.
They had like Mario 64 DS. They had Metroid Prime Hunters First Hunt.
Let's talk about those games.
Sure.
Those are, I think, for the first-party games, those are the games that people are most interested in. Now, the Super Mario 64 DS, this is basically, my understanding is it's pretty much a straight port of the original Super Mario 64, but there's a lot of different twists to it, obviously, to take advantage of the DS capabilities.
It's like kind of, but not really, because they kind of redid the whole game in a way.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the levels are there in the order that it's kind of mixed up a little because there's now 4 playable characters. The story's been tweaked a little because, you know, Peach has people over for cake in the castle.
Of course.
And so Wario, Mario, and Luigi kind of go for the cake, and Yoshi falls asleep on top of the castle, so he doesn't make it in for the cake. And then when everybody's in the castle, of course, they get trapped in there, and trouble ensues, and then Yoshi wakes up and decides he's going to help. So you start the game out as Yoshi, and then you find everybody else, and they eventually will all become playable.
Now, one of the big twists, aside from the 4 playable characters, is there's like stylus support now. It's one of the key features of the DS, and that's actually used for control. Did you get a chance to use the stylus for that?
So there's like 2 kinds of stylus stuff in Mario 64 DS. The first one is the really obvious stuff. You're going to find a whole pack of mini games in there, and they're all pretty much stylus specific, right? They're all completely new for the game. I think there's like 36.
Wow.
There's a ton. I mean, I wrote about them. And, you know, they all pretty much involve making lines, connecting, choosing stuff. And so that's one aspect. The other thing is, obviously, if you played Mario 64 on the N64, you knew it was like use the analog stick on the N64 controller. DS not having analog stick, so problem. But not really.
Yeah. Oh, no?
No.
Why not?
Because the carrying strap on the DS is going to have like this thumb pad. And one of the controller options that you can have in the game is to use analog control. So you slip it on your thumb, and then there's going to be on the touch screen like a little bullseye. And that is your analog control, because that's how you control your button.
Oh. That's an interesting twist. Now,
so we have actually right now a full 16-minute demo available for Mario 64 for the Nintendo DS. You should check that out. Our man Ryan shot that for us. Not you, Ryan McDonald, Ryan. He shot that for us. That's on the site. You definitely want to check that out. Now let's talk about another game we have a huge demo for, Metroid Prime Hunters First Hunt.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah. That was just a demo of the game. They kind of gave us a bit more of a taste of what's going on. In case you're interested in the story, Samus is in sort of like the regional bounty hunter competitions or whatever.
So the other bounty hunter, the other Samus-looking characters aren't actually Samus? It's not just like Four Sword style, or?
No, it's competition pretty much.
Okay.
And there's like, sort of like a single-player game that's they didn't have too much on. They just had like 3 like levels or whatnot. That you were sort of able to try and get a feel for what you're supposed to do, which is go around, shoot stuff, explore. And then they also had some multiplayer stuff as well, which is one of the big things that we've seen since last E3, which was the whole wireless 4-player multiplayer, which was cool. And I mean, the really neat thing is that they've got like cinematics on there and everything that sort of like spans both screens. So they're working it.
Is there also, I mean, it seems that the first hunt is very much, the focus is on the multiplayer. Is there also going to be, in the final version of the game, will there be like a full-on single-player game as well?
Yeah, what they're doing is what we're getting when you get the DS, you know, it's supposed to have...
Right, the first hunt's packed in. That's just sort of like a tease.
It's a demo, it's a tease. The actual game isn't coming out until next year.
Right.
So they want to make sure that it's like a nice, tasty package for fans.
Very cool. Now let's talk about some of the third-party games from EA. Tiger Woods and Madden.
Yes.
I hear good things about Tiger Woods. I hear Nintendo 64 blocky things about Madden. What can you tell us?
Okay, so Tiger Woods.
Right.
They pretty much are trying to give you like the Tiger Woods stuff that you'd expect, but put in some really neat touchscreen support for like the swing meter and whatnot. And you can also use it to sort of manipulate the camera when you're trying to line up your shot. It doesn't have game face or anything like that,
wow.
But you can still customize your character a lot.
But we're still talking, it's still full 3D Tiger.
Yeah.
It's still the Tiger that we know. It's not old motion cap Tiger or anything like that.
It's good Tiger.
So tell us about Madden then. We're looking at Madden right now. It looks a little outdated maybe, or is it still fun?
I mean, it's football. How could it not be fun, right?
True.
And it's Madden.
Right.
So now this lower screen that we're seeing, it's showing all the X's and O's. Can you actually like create plays or use that for that kind of manipulation? And obviously you can call plays using it.
Yeah, you can use your touch screen to sort of like call your plays and whatnot, and change camera angles, and you know, pretty much what they had originally said that you could theoretically do when the release for the DS first went out to sort of tease it. Yeah, this is what's going on. And yeah, you know, it's Probably could look a little better, but whatever.
Very cool. I like Madden. I'm going to play Madden all the time. Now, WarioWare, there's a DS version.
Oh, there's the DS version.
And there's also a new GBA version.
Yes.
Tell us about the DS version quickly, and then we'll get on to the new crazy GBA version.
Okay, so the DS version is an original Wario game made for the DS. Specifically, like a ton of the mini games use the stylus. You know, it's like chopping fruit really fast, drawing lines to stuff, pretty much the kind of stuff that you'd expect them to do. It's really fun, it's really fast paced. It's got sort of like, at least the demo that they had there, has sort of like the look and the layout of the GameCube version. It's just like an elevator, squiggly lines, going floor to floor. It's really fast.
But it's got still the very much the same visual style where it's just sort of weird, raw 2D graphics and then like pieces of like actual live digitized photographs.
Yeah, there's this one that's like cats. There's just a whole pack of cats that come out and you have to tap the right one.
Sure. Now let's talk about the crazy GBA. Ryan Davis has been itching to play this. Ricardo, you just got this in from Japan today, right?
Yep.
Just fresh in from the other side.
All right, Ryan Davis is going to play it. And why? Now you're saying, why is Ryan Davis playing this game if we can't see the screen? Well, we're going to show you some recorded footage, and you're going to watch Ryan Davis play this game all crazy, like he'll be shifting the GBA around. Why, Ricardo?
Because you want to show them the cart real quick?
Okay, the cart, if you can see it down here, as you can see, it's a little bit bigger than your usual GBA cart. It's got a little bit of depth to it. It's got some size to it. And why is that, Ricardo?
Because there's a special sensor, Ryan.
Now, there's actually, I've noticed, I played this a little bit earlier, there is more than just the sensor. There's also like some sort of a force feedback kind of rumble thing going on in there too. So when it actually, oh, it keeps on doing that to me.
Don't kill the bat in my GBA.
Sorry about that.
It is Nintendo being Nintendo, which is doing something that you wouldn't think would work, and like not only making it work, but making it work really well. The mini games are a combination of the standard stuff from the previous games, which is really fast twitch-based stuff. You know, hit the A button at the right time before like the bomb blows up, which is pretty much what we've come to expect from WarioWare. But then you've also got these crazy mini games that sort of require you to spin around.
That's right. Now we're looking at the footage right now. It's looking at some crazy stuff. It's a boss stage, and what you have to do right here is guide this helicopter plane. And how does the rumble shifting thing come into play in something like this?
It pretty much tells you when you're near trouble.
Okay, so it'll rumble. But then there are other levels where like you have to shoot something with an arrow, and you have to rotate it by like moving the Game Boy around.
Yeah.
And tilting it, and all kinds of craziness.
Yeah, it's completely bizarre, and I'm sure if you're hearing us talk about it, you think we're insane. But it works, and it works real good. It's also, it's really inventive because there's
So that level right there, they made the coin-op machine work. Basically, the way that would have worked is just by you just take the GBA in your hands and turn it around.
And the really, well, that's kind of typical.
Yeah.
As you can see, it got a facelift. It's looking a lot more colorful and a lot more interesting. They're having a lot more fun with the artwork. Obviously, new phone.
Right.
And, you know, soccer stuff. So you're actually manipulating his legs with the gyro.
That's very cool. Now, what can we expect to see about this game on GameSpot?
Well, we can expect to see some movies. We can expect to see impressions from Mr. Gersman.
Are those up now? Are those going to be up shortly?
Up very soon.
Very soon. So hang out on GameSpot. You'll be seeing all kinds of crazy movies for, now what's the name of it? Does it have an official title?
Not in English.
All right. So crazy new WarioWare game with a shaky thing. It's going to be great. Now let's get back to Nintendo Gamer Summit. Ryan Davis, you can. I'm sorry, you have to put it away. Sorry.
Weak.
But now, one of the big games that was on hand, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Very highly anticipated game.
With good reason.
What's it all about?
It is about a new Metroid game.
Thanks for coming, Ricardo. Good to have you.
Now, what they basically have done is they're continuing, you know, Samus's adventures, because obviously people really dug the makeover the Metroid series got with Prime. And Retro, you know, people were a little worried because it's coming out relatively speaking, pretty soon after Prime, but they put a lot of work into it. And some of the stuff that we saw initially didn't look like it was going to be that different, but this very last version of the game that we saw shows off a lot more of the stuff that they're doing, which is very heavy on enhanced graphics, kind of a stronger emphasis on story too. You've got more cinematics, a lot more of a cinematic approach, and a lot more atmosphere on the planet, because you wind up on this planet called Aether, that is split between dark and light. And you eventually have to travel between like the light and the dark worlds.
So there's sort of an Ikaruga kind of thing going on. Could you make some sort of comparison there?
You could, because you'll eventually get light and dark beams, and depending on the enemy that you're facing, you'll have to use one of them.
Right.
And it's very specific, obviously.
You have to switch back and forth on the fly.
Yeah.
So you got to play both the single player and the multiplayer game some more.
Yes.
At the summit. Tell us a little bit more about the multiplayer game.
The multiplayer game, honestly, was something we're a little worried about.
Right.
After playing it at E3, just because it just didn't seem like it was coming together. But again, probably shouldn't underestimate Retro.
Right.
They listened to people's feedback. They kind of got where it needed to be improved, and they tightened it up quite a bit. There's several different game modes that are very different, and now the whole Metroid thing works. They've tailored the games to take advantage of what Samus can do.
So it's not so much. I mean, it is again sort of like the Prime game itself. It is from the first person perspective. But would you say it is? I mean, the multiplayer game, is it really a first person shooter in the traditional sense, or is there sort of a different focus in the multiplayer game?
It varies on the game type, right?
Okay.
But you can still do the morph ball.
Oh, well, excellent. As long as I can roll up into a little roly-poly, that sounds good to me.
Now, we do have an interview for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, but before you go, Ricardo, I want to ask you some quick questions. We're, of course, always taking questions right here on the spot. If you're a GameSpot Complete member, use the form you see on the page right now to send us in a question. First one's from Colby in Los Angeles. With the Rumble feature on the new WarioWare Ware game, it got me wondering, are there any other announced games that will have this feature?
Announced games?
Yes.
No.
Easy question. Next, Narendra Verma, I'm sorry I pronounced your name wrong, from New York City. Are the Nintendo DS screens backlit, or do they use reflective plastic, like the Game Boy Advance?
Backlit.
Backlit, very cool. And one more question. Ryan from sitting next to me wants to know, what's your opinion on Halo 2 being leaked on the internet?
Yeah. So today was a weird day. Actually, last night was a weird night. In case you all haven't checked out the site, unfortunately, somebody has gotten hold of the PAL version of Halo 2, and it is
The French version, specifically.
the French version, and it's out there. It's making the rounds.
So yeah, the full final version of it's something like 27 days before the game's
It's due
proper
out on the
release.
7th.
So yeah, I mean that's a pretty significant.
Blow.
It's a blow. That's not good for Microsoft. That's not good for
Yeah.
Bungie.
It's not good for gaming in general. Piracy, not cool, kids. Stay in school, don't do drugs, avoid piracy.
Don't copy that floppy.
Last question from Alex in Massachusetts. When are you guys going to give us a preview of some kind of Halo 2? In the near distant future, should we say?
Well, we've given you, I think, pretty much what you're getting. Microsoft's been very protective, I would say, and Bungie as well, about the single-player experience, because that really going into Halo not knowing a whole lot was sort of the awesome thing about the first one, because you didn't know what was going on and it all sort of unfolded. They want to try and preserve that experience to the best of their efforts, but that could have changed. But if you see spoilers, don't look, and try.
So just avoid forums for the next month or so.
Yeah. Avoid the internet for about a month, if you can.
Except for GameSpot. Stay right here at GameSpot. Ricardo, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. We're going to get Ryan McDonald back on here to play some more Counter-Strike Source, but right now we have an interview for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Check it out.
My name is Michael Kelvar. I'm the president of Retro Studios.
I'm Brian Walker. I'm the senior producer of Retro Studios. Our challenge with this project is to keep everything that we did well with Prime, make it better, and then make it so much better that it exceeds the already high expectations that everybody had from the original.
We didn't want to just dump a multiplayer experience just for the sake of having a multiplayer experience. We didn't want just Metroid does deathmatch. It was really important to us at Retro to make sure that situation was true to the Metroid fan, that it wasn't just Samus going in and blowing up stuff.
One of the things in the industry is that if you think failure in the games industry is difficult to stomach, try success. And Michael touched on the sophomore curse. Sophomore curse is almost always a result of somebody thinking that the success they enjoyed previously is a guarantee of success in the future. So they rest on their laurels or think that just being smart and creative by itself is the answer. You have to be smart, creative, and very hardworking. And I'm really happy with the effort of everybody involved with Prime 2, both here and in Japan. The dedication and just pure sweat that these guys have thrown into this project has guaranteed that it's a very worthy successor to the original.
We've been doing nothing but polish for probably a good 3 months, where I think could have probably shipped the game then. We have been doing nothing but going over in great detail every major encounter.
And we are back. Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, looking cool. And that is just an excerpt of a longer interview, which you can find on the site soon, I'm pretty sure. And we have another video piece to come back for tomorrow. It's part 2 of Need for Speed Underground 2's concept to completion. You get to see all kinds of crazy behind-the-scene footage only right here on GameSpot.
That looks awesome.
And now we're joined once again by Ryan McDonald. Ryan, you're playing some Counter-Strike Source right now. How's the game going?
It's going pretty good. It's kind of hard playing on the over here when Ricardo took my seat. but I was doing some business. I actually got kicked though because I idled for too long and I was trying to get my situation adjusted over there so I could play properly.
So are you still on the same server though?
I am actually.
So on McPee's.
I am on the McPee's
Game Grid CS Source number 2.
It's almost full. You better hurry. It's 29 out of 32.
So 3 lucky Game Spotters get on there. Look for GS Death, and I'm going to give you a secret. Let you know a secret. You want to be on his team. I've seen the guy play the game. You want to make sure you're on his side. So, Ryan, while you're playing, if you can answer a couple quick questions for us.
Yes, sir. I've got one here that's from Zalex45 from Pittsburgh. Wants to know, since you got to try out both the Nintendo DS and PSP, which do you prefer, and also which unit do you think will do better in market? So,
in all honesty, this is a great question, by the way. In all honesty, this is a question I think a lot of people have.
Absolutely.
And for me, it was like after I came out of the Tokyo Game Show, after seeing the PSP and playing those games, there was no question. I came out of TGS and I was like, PSP, I'm going to buy one. I might buy the Japanese version because it's going to come out first before the American version. So I was big on the PSP. Hadn't seen anything that I really liked on the DS. After coming back from the Nintendo's Gamer Summit, the one thing I will say that I was actually kind of impressed by is they're two. Once you sit down with them and get a chance to play both of them, they are two very different machines.
It seems like they do have such radically different focuses, and their priorities are so totally different.
Yeah.
The PSP is definitely going for more of a multimedia thing. The DS is going for a lot more sort of specific gameplay experience stuff.
Totally. And if you're talking prices too, that's obviously a huge difference. $149 we know for sure for the DS. Whether PSP is going to come in at $249, $299,
$300
or more, who knows?
$1 million.
But right now, I mean, the only thing you have to say about the DS versus the PSP, if you wanted to play that game, is you can look at Ridge Racer. It's like the PlayStation versus the N64 is pretty much a lot of the ways that stack up versus each other. But they're two very different things, and I think anybody's going to want to probably get both of them if they can afford it.
I have another question. It's from our man Andrew in Belfast, Northern Ireland. How big is the DS?
It doesn't seem very big. It doesn't seem very small either, though.
Yeah.
Basically, if you really wanted to know, just take two Nintendo, the old Game Boy Advances, and stack them on each other, and there you go. That's pretty much what it feels like.
The question I have, and I think I asked someone about it last week. Now, the Nintendo DS, it looks really cool in those demos you shot for us, where it's set on the table and the guy's scribbling on it.
Right.
Is that something you can sit on a train, sit in a car, hold in one hand, and scribble the other one? Is it weighted okay for that?
It is, and actually, I tried it with a few things, and it didn't seem to be an issue. It had a good balance to the weight, so it wasn't like it was too heavy to hold in one hand and write on it with the other. It felt, I didn't have any trouble doing that at all. The one thing I don't know if anybody saw is they did kind of talk about the whole left-handed thing, and how that's going to work for people, and they showed it, and it'll work fine.
What do they do? Something special?
It's like I can't remember. The guy switched something and pulled something out, and then it was kind of crazy because then he pulled out that strap thing for his thumb. And I kind of lost him right on there. What? All right.
Both systems look really cool, especially the news leak today. The PSP will handle MP3s.
Oh, that's nice.
And we read as a USB device by your PC.
Oh, wow.
So
but you do have to have the memory stick duos. That's where it will be storing it. So
right.
They get you for another extra $200 or something for one of those.
It's not too bad.
Very cool. Ryan, we'll let you get back
All
to
right.
playing some CS Source. If you want to play Counter-Strike Source against Ryan, the server is
McPee's Game Grid CS Source number 2.
what that guy just said. Right now, we're going to move on to some of the crazy preview coverage we got rolling around on GameSpot right now. We are approaching Christmas. It's almost time to buy Christmas presents, you could say. It's definitely time to start buying me birthday presents. But right now, we're going to have some developer interviews. Ryan, tell us about our first game.
We're going to be talking to one of the developers of MechAssault 2. He's going to be talking to us about the Conquest mode, which is the persistent online
Like war world they have going on.
Yes, in the world of MechAssault 2.
Exactly.
War all the time.
Let's hear more about it from the president of Day One Studios, the developer for MechAssault 2, Denny Thorley. Take it away, Denny.
My name is Denny Thorley. I'm
God,
the president
you
of
turned
Day
into
One
Denny.
Studios, and we're here to talk about MechAssault 2 Lone Wolf. What we're here to talk about today is our Conquest mode, which is kind of a new mode for us. We obviously have our single-player campaign, and MechAssault 1 was very famous for its multiplayer on Xbox Live. We've introduced kind of a persistent world that we refer to as Conquest, which is a graphic representation of a galaxy, and people get to join different fictional houses from the Battletech universe, like House Karita or Davion, and they actually battle for territory in the galaxy, which is the different planets. So when people join the houses, they can decide to attack an adjacent planet to theirs or defend their planets. And each planet is tied to a multiplayer game of a specific game type and a specific map. So if you're really good at capture the flag, that'll only get you so far in terms of your quest to dominate the universe. We have a server set up that runs the game, if you will. When people go in and they boot up Conquest, this dynamic map comes up and they see it in full 3D, and they can look and see the status of what's going on each of the planets. If it's being battled for, how close it may be to turning to the other side. And then each of the houses has a different color representation, so you can get a quick snapshot of who has the most territory in the galaxy. And we can watch and monitor that. And you always end up with, it seems like in historically the games that we've done, when people start getting real powerful, there'll be kind of a sway to the other side to try to keep them from dominating. And we're expecting that same dynamic to happen in Conquest. There's two ways that you can get information in the game. There is the website. All the information from the game and it's stored on our server gets pushed to a website, so you can log in and check out the status of the war, if you will, anytime you choose to from any PC. And you can also check your own statistics and how you personally are doing in maybe the other multiplayer aspects of the product. With MechAssault 2, we really wanted to expand the tactical options in the game. So I've talked about it a lot before, but the different weapons and different vehicles in the game. For example, the tank that you so affectionately played with is got a gun that is very capable of knocking mechs down if it's targeted properly. In this case, specifically at the mech's legs. So you have a zoom scope on it. The tank has the capability of going null sig, so it's very difficult to see. And it can get to areas that are difficult for you to attack it at, but yet it can knock a mech down. It doesn't do a huge amount of damage, but it knocks it down so your teammates can then pounce on that mech and really hurt it. In our game, since you can get out of the mech at any time you want, we have found that players are taking their damaged mech where they can't get any health for it or whatever and running back to their base and swapping mechs. Unfortunately, what they're doing and leaving at their base is kind of a ticking time bomb. If the enemy notices that, they can actually target that mech and blow it up, which causes, if it's close enough to other mechs, can cause a chain reaction that can actually defeat a bunch of their big mechs back at their base.
Thank you, Denny Thorley. That game looks incredible.
I have to say, I'm really stoked about that game. I loved the first MechAssault. This game, the Conquest mode actually kind of reminds me of the PC MMO action game PlanetSide.
Totally, yeah.
It's very much got, they're talking about there's these different planets and there's this persistent world where these factions are struggling for control. And just all the gameplay stuff that they're doing with MechAssault 2 just sounds so cool.
Mech Jack, as Jeff says on the E3 DVD.
The mech jacking sounds really cool. It seems like there's a lot more interesting cooperative stuff that can be done with the teams. It's not so
hanging
much
from underneath that plane.
yeah, it's
awesome.
during that one shot there was actually three guys. There was the guy that was controlling the carrier, and then there was two guys hanging off the bottom of it, and those two guys were shooting at the ground while the pilot was piloting the carrier. Just manic and awesome.
Now that's just an excerpt of a longer interview which is currently available on the site, and I suggest everyone checks it out after the show. However, there's one part of MechAssault 2 we're not talking about, MechAssault 2 Lone Wolf I'm not talking about. It's the release date.
The release date, which is on December 28th
That's not
of
before
this year.
Christmas.
Microsoft has decided that MechAssault 2 is coming out on the 28th. They established this release date pretty early on, and a few months ago, I think, even. And obviously for a reason. They want to purposely get it in there. I think like the real rationale is they want to get it out this year, but they want to keep it as far away from Halo 2 as they possibly can.
Or they have some sort of mathematical formula set up, figuring out how long people are going to be playing Halo 2 online at their absolute peak of excitement, and at what point will they be willing to drop more money on another great-looking online game such as MechAssault 2 Lone Wolf, and that date happens to be December 28th.
It is Microsoft, so anything's possible.
It is. They got big brains and big computers. Ryan, how's CS Source treating you?
It's doing awesome. I have to admit, it's a little rough playing on this set without any headphones on, but I'm doing all right. They're switching maps, which is awesome, by the way. It's like me and Cobble, it's like we're all right, but me and Aztec are way better.
I have a question for you then,
Yes,
while
sir.
they're switching maps from Kyle McNair in Memphis. How has the new Source engine affected the popular and widespread use of wall hacks in other cheating programs and Counter-Strike? Have any changes in the Source engine allowed for more fair and complete gameplay?
That's a very good question. Right now, as far as we've seen, like the whole cheating thing, that it pops up. But so far, what we've seen so far, it's been pretty, I haven't really run into anybody. I can't actually confirm that I've seen somebody cheating so far. It's which is a good thing, because, old school CS would be like, oh yeah, that guy's cheating, that guy, you're looking for the server that didn't have a cheater on it. Mm-hmm. So this time around, whether they're going to be able to, they'll be able to hack it, they'll be able to cheat, but right now they're not doing it, it's too new.
It's only been out for a week.
Yeah,
now,
it's been
right?
a week. The one thing I did see that I wanted to actually have ready for the show so I could show it, but I didn't have time, is the one thing that if you look around you can see that's released is this crazy bump map texture thing that somebody did. Craig was actually showing it to me yesterday, and it was it's this thing, it's basically like a skin pack, except the difference is instead of just skins, it actually makes the current skins in the game look better, like they have detail on them.
So it bump maps everything.
Exactly, yeah.
Does it also bump map the environments as well, or is it just the characters?
It's the environments look pretty, everything looks fine, but the noticeable thing is the cloth of the characters.
Right.
Looks like cloth.
We'll let you get back to playing on McPee's Game Grid number 2. Look
Deuce.
for GS Death, that's Ryan, and you want to make sure you're on his side.
Oh, there's also Bob is in there. I saw him playing. He's
Bob's
playing
name's
as
Assisted Suicide.
GS Assisted Suicide.
And GS Crib, this is our man Craig,
Who's
and he's
GS
already
Vortex?
dead.
Who's GS Vortex?
Then there is some unknown
GS
game
Vortex,
spotter in
that
there
might
too.
be-
Gun for him. Go
Yeah,
after GS
find-
Vortex. We
yeah,
don't know who he is.
Track him down. All right, now we just saw a great game that's coming out after Christmas, and we're about to look at a great game that's coming out in a couple weeks, November 2nd, RollerCoaster Tycoon 3. Here's another developer interview. We'll be right back.
RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 is an all-new experience for fans of the series, and they're going to really love this game because the game puts you in the front seat of the coasters. You can hop in your coasters with the Coaster Cam feature, ride all the rides. You can even import coasters that you've created in the previous version of RollerCoaster Tycoon. In addition, we've added a whole layer of strategic elements into our career mode. We have a full career mode with 18 scenarios that have incredibly well-landscaped, fun parks to play in that are really exciting. The game has 5 different themes of rides that can be mixed and matched and really play a role in the gameplay. Not only can you ride the coasters, you can ride every single ride in the game. You can ride all of the what we call flat rides, and flat rides are carousel rides, the spinning rides, rotors and top spinners and the zipper and all those rides that really spin you around and make you sick. And the game actually, if you ride all these rides enough, you really get that sensation of, wow, I feel a little queasy. In the game, you can customize the park guests, who you can name and dress and make them look the way you want to look. You can even set the types of rides that they prefer, whether they prefer gentle rides or the more extreme rides. And it's really fun to create a group of your friends and then follow them through the park and watch them go through the park. One of the things that's really fun about the new game is you can just spend a lot of time after you create your park just watching the people react to it, watch them walk around to the stands. And now, because it's all in 3D, they go up to your stands. If you put in a balloon stand, for example, they'll go up, they'll buy the balloons, and if you pop the balloons, they react to it. They get upset that you pop the balloons. Just like the previous game, you can do mischievous things. You can take the people and drop them in water, and in the new game they actually swim in the water. So in the last few months we've really put a lot of polish on the game. The graphics have gotten better. There are some new features and elements in the game that we're really excited about. A demo of the game is available online at RollerCoasterTycoon.com, and you can also, if you pre-order the game, you can get 3 custom-made roller coasters that aren't available in the game itself. So RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 will be in stores on November 2nd, Election Day, by the way. So once you get out of the polls, make your way over to your retailer and pick up a copy of RollerCoaster Tycoon 3.
Another great looking game that's going to be coming out very soon.
That looks like a really good, I mean, the first 2 Roller Coaster Tycoon games, the first one was obviously just a huge hit. The second one, it took them a long time to come out with it, and it didn't really make the improvements on the first game that it needed to, especially after the amount of time that the first one had been out. This one, it looks like they're taking it into full 3D. It looks like that's going to be a big improvement. Being able to go first person on the roller coasters, that looks really cool. I'm a big roller coaster junkie myself, so that sounds like something that's right up my alley.
And you can import old roller coasters from RollerCoaster Tycoon 2 and play them in RollerCoaster
So
Tycoon 3.
it's revisiting an old friend.
It's great.
It'll be cool.
I don't like roller coasters because I'm scared of heights, but I can appreciate that game. Do I have any more questions? No, let's move on. Ryan?
Actually, I'd like to correct. Yeah,
Sure.
One of the guys in here did correct me, and he's totally right because playing CS live on the internet is crazy. But I did call the last level Cobble, and it wasn't. It was Piranesi. Thank you for correcting me.
Oh, someone corrected
burn.
you.
I know.
Man, yeah. You're the guy that corrected Ryan. Fire us an email on the complete form he's looking at right now, and we'll send you a T-shirt or something.
Okay, yeah.
And I did catch your name, so only him send it in.
Exactly. Send us an email. It'll be great. Now we have one last developer interview, which is just a portion of a longer piece available on the site, and that is for the Xbox racer
Forza Motorsport.
Forza Motorsport. Let's check it out right now. We'll be right back with more of On the Spot.
I'm Scott Lee. I'm a group product manager at Microsoft in our first-party games group, and I oversee the marketing efforts for racing, strategy, and some of our other games. Well, today we're here to talk about Forza Motorsport, our upcoming fully customizable driving simulator that's going to be out for Xbox in February 2005. We put the game in February 2005 to get the development team as much time as possible to really deliver a quality experience. It's a game that's, for us, it's an important first step in a new franchise. We want to make sure that it's a game that Xbox gamers are proud of to have in their library. Right now the dev team is really probably about 90% along. In the game itself, there's a lot of polish that has to happen still, a lot of tuning and balancing, and they're taking that extra time to add that little extra polish that's going to make the game special. Forza Motorsport is a gigantic game. In terms of scope and in terms of the kind of undertaking it is, it's really unlike anything we've ever done, at least in our racing studio. We have, for example, over 100 people working on the game. It's been in development now for nearly 3 years. We just announced it at E3, of course. In terms of size, the game has over 200 cars. Most of the cars are customizable. The few exceptions there would be some of the Le Mans prototype race cars that are already pretty much beast machines, and even those you can tune. But there are literally hundreds and even thousands of possible ways to customize the cars, whether it's a paint scheme or a livery, adding new decals, creating your own text. There are literally actually billions of possible outcomes for the cars as we've done the math. So the game itself is huge. In fact, the car models take, because of the extensive collision and damage modeling that we do, that adds about 2 weeks to every car we've done. So if you take 200 cars times an extra 2 weeks, plus the other 6 weeks it takes to model each car, it's quite an undertaking. And then layer on top of that, of course, the track environments, the amount of detail, for example, capturing every square foot of every individual road surface in the game. It's quite an extensive process, and then throw on top of that online, which is going to be a huge part of the game. Well, to use the customization features in the game, we've actually gone to a lot of lengths to make it as accessible for as many people as possible. It's actually quite simple to go in, change the color of your car, add some decals or some stickers from your favorite aftermarket parts. If you want to throw Brembo or HKS or whatever on there, we have over 150 of those to choose from. But if you want to go deep and if you want to make your own, really get detailed, really get authentic, make it your own, the tools are powerful enough to let you, customize. In fact, there are over 100 layers per surface on every car that you can throw decals on, or your own paint schemes or shapes or whatever. So it's got actually quite a nice range of capability there. We kind of think of it a little bit as a kind of like a Photoshop for Forza Motorsport. It's quite powerful.
If you would like to see more of that developer interview, check out the Forza Motorsport Game Space after the show.
After.
And you get to hear the developer talk about things like the online mode of Forza Motorsport.
You mean a racing simulation with online play?
And damage?
And who could possibly do such a thing on a modern console? Though, to be fair, Forza they also recently announced that it's not coming out this year, it's going to be coming out in February. Originally did have a 2004 release date. So, if you do want to get your racing simulation, your hardcore racing simulation fix in this year, it's not going to be with Forza. But that is looking like a very, very cool game, a real contender.
Now, Gran Turismo 4 is coming out before Christmas. Mm-hmm. And they are planning on releasing an online version in like March, right? Is that what they said?
They said that, but Polyphony Digital has not had a great track record thus far with hitting its release dates. They say there will be in 2005 Gran Turismo with online play, but I think it's probably wise to just sort of wait and see on that one. I wouldn't necessarily get my hopes up too high.
Especially if you own both a PlayStation 2 and an Xbox, it looks like you're going to have a tough choice to make.
Well, it looks like you're going to have a lot of options.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Ryan, let's check in with you one last time with Counter-Strike Source. I see all these kids that are talking how your stats look.
I'm second. Mm-hmm. I'm second, so it's like that's not bad. I'm not doing the best. I'm playing 6. I can't really complain. I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing very well considering you keep pausing the game to talk to us and then you just get shot, which is horrible.
I got a good group of people in here. Thanks for everybody joining up. It's like this is cool. And as soon as I get home, look for GS Death if you can find me, because this is awesome. I love playing with the Game Spotters. They know how to play Counter-Strike.
I got a question for you from John of California. What's with the headshots and the hitboxes? I mean, you turn a corner and boom, headshot.
Right.
The hitboxes seem to lag, not the game, but the boxes itself, making a kill easier. Is that being fixed?
Everything right now, just like Counter-Strike's always been, is always being tweaked and mod. Basically, I know that they were pretty happy with where it was when they were releasing it. I do know that they have been seeing, they're watching all the boards and everything, so every forum post you put, they're looking at all that stuff. So I know hitboxes is definitely one of the things. People are saying, it is definitely easier to get some headshots in there. I would agree. So we'll see. I bet you they'll tweak it. Those guys know what they're doing.
It seems, Counter-Strike has always been an evolving.
That's the beautiful thing about Steam. Yeah, it's like it works while you sleep and play. So it's awesome.
So I got a question going back to Forza real quick. Mike D from Illinois wants to know if the game feels faster or slower. Would you say it's more visceral? Or is this is definitely a simulation, right?
For the Forza, it's definitely super technical.
Very, very much a technical racer.
If you remember the first time you played Gran Turismo and was like, oh, whoa, this is totally not like any other racing game, Forza definitely has that feeling.
All right.
But it does feel fast. It does feel pretty fast.
Tommy Sallin wants to know, he's from Stockholm, Sweden, by the way. We are huge in Europe and Canada. Judging by these questions, Ireland as well, Europe, Canada, everyone, they love us. Tommy Sallin wants to know, hi, will video game spotting ever return? Sincerely, Tommy.
You never know. We're always doing crazy things with game spotting. The feature is constantly evolving. As people might have noticed lately, we've been sort of importing the feature into our journals, giving it a little bit more of a relaxed feel. Video is not out of the question, but I don't know. We'll do another one eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually. I don't want to say October 17th, be there. But
sure,
yes, eventually we'll definitely do one.
You got a question? Or?
I've got one from Wiley Otis in Colorado.
Wiley Otis.
Wiley Otis. That is a great name.
Otis.
I hope it's real.
Okay.
Wants to know if there will be online services with the DS, like internet browsers, to view online. That's something that has not. I think we actually touched on this a little bit last week.
Right.
It's got the Wi-Fi, so it's got the 802.11b standard that can be used for internet. Nintendo hasn't said anything specific about there being native support, but we could probably, if they don't do anything, we can probably expect to see something hacked together by someone else.
Cool.
So
I got some stuff here. Roy from Chicago, you know what you wrote. You get that from me. All right, I got one last question. Kyle from UNH Wildcats says, how's Valve's court case going? I haven't heard anything since Kurt Feldman's article a couple weeks ago. And any solid news on a release date?
No.
That article was awesome, though.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't read this article yet, you want an in-depth look breaking down the piles and piles of legal documents involving Valve's court case with Vivendi right now over releasing the game and what can happen and when and who gets what.
It makes you think. They released CS Source It's like, but Half-Life 2 still isn't out?
You know, the game is coming soon. I think that Vivendi is smarter than to hold the game longer than they need to. But it's interesting just to sort of like these threats and like the cloak and dagger stuff that's going on between the two, and all this stuff that wasn't really in the open about there being this long-standing legal case.
Cool.
We have stuff.
I'd like to thank everyone for writing questions in that we didn't get to. Write them in next week. We'll answer them then. Right now, though, we got tons of stuff.
We have so much stuff.
I got 3 books right here. I got Halo, The Flood, I got Halo, The Fall of Reach, and I got Halo First Strike. I don't know what order they're going like this. If you want the Halo books,
you get all 3 of them.
Write in. I want you to use the GameSpot complete form you're seeing on the On the Spot page right now. I need a full mailing address, and I want you to write, "Bees are dumb." Send that in. You'll get all 3 of these Halo books. Ryan Davis, giveaway T-shirt.
All right, I've got a T-shirt here. It's a Halo 2 shirt. It's black.
Commodity.
It's a black Halo 2 shirt. It says on the back, it says "Go Earth." What do we want to say to get the Halo 2 T-shirt? Let's see. Piracy is bad.
Piracy is bad with a complete mailing address.
For the black shirts.
If you want a white version of the Go Earth Halo 2 T-shirt in a adult large, this looks like an extra large, we'll give it a large. I want a full mailing address, and I want you to say, "This looks like an extra large." Give me that, and we'll give you the Halo 2 white T-shirt.
All right, and finally,
what do you got, Ryan Davis?
Finally, I've got to commemorate Hype Williams doing directing a trailer for the Herbs. We're going to give away this awesome Sims Busting Out Loose Connection. I know it's a long sleeve. It says "Pack your bags." It's long sleeved.
Let's have you write in who is your favorite character in the movie Belly, directed by Hype Williams. Nas, DMX. Pick one. Full mailing address. We'll give you the Sim shirt. So we got books. Hopefully you got that. If you didn't know how to win something, come back and watch the archive version of the show. For Ryan Davis and Ryan McDonald, thank you guys for coming by. Ricardo Torres, who isn't here right now, to everyone in the crew, all of GameSpot Live, and all of you watching, thanks, and we'll catch you next time right here on The Spot.